Dr. Larry Stein from Texas A&M University in College Station is one of Texas' premier horticulturalists. He's stationed out of Uvalde. But in January of 2022, he gave his annual fruit tree presentation at Fannick's Nursery in San Antonio. And I'd like to thank Dr. Stein for allowing me to make this video of his presentation, and for Mark Fannick of Fannick's Nursery for allowing me to make this video at his nursery. This video is going to be divided into three parts. The first part is a listing of fruit and nut trees that grow well and produce the fruits and nuts in Bexar County area. The second video will be the actual pruning of the fruit trees, Dr. Stein's approach, and then the third video will be a kind of a question answer period. In this video, Dr. Stein lists his favorites among the various trees, but at the end of this video will be a complete listing of all the fruit and nut trees that are recommended by Texas A&M, Dr. Larry Stein, and by David Rodriguez, a horticulture agent in Bexar County. So again, thank you, Dr. Stein, and thank you, Mark Fannick, for allowing me to make this presentation, make this video. This is Dr. Stein's yearly fruit and nut presentation at Fannick's Nursery.
Sit here too long because it's too cold. But if you want to grow fruit trees, it's got to be cold. If it doesn't get cold, you're not going to grow any fruit trees. And so when we started January, we were pretty much sucking air. We had about 50 hours of chill. Wow. We got to have 400 to 500 here every year. So we had maybe 50, maybe 100. So January's been good. Temperature drops below 45, but not below 32. Stays there for 1 hour. You get 1 hour of chill. So January has been exceptionally good. The only problem with January is it's too dry. You get the best chill when it's foggy and damp and drizzly. And so we've had very little of that kind of weather. And so I would tell you this, like on a day like today, it's going to stay cool, but it's going to be dry. So you may go out there and sprinkle your tree. If you got a fruit tree, just go spray a little water on it, keep it wet, let it evaporate, and that'll help with the chilling as well. So chill is the big thing that we're worried about. January's good. This coming week is supposed to be good as well. So I really think we're going to be okay. We were kind of worried about that at first, but I think we'll be fine. So that's the first thing we needed to talk about was the chill. Let's see, what kind of handouts did y'all get? Did you get any handouts?
No handouts.
No, sir.
Did y'all forget them?
Hey, Bernie, over there?
Okay. Well, there's a variety list. There's a variety list for Bexar County. And there they are. I knew we had some handouts here somewhere. There we go. So here's the variety list I think they're passing out. And so this variety list is based on the number of chill hours that we typically get each year in Bexar and surrounding counties. Comal is the same, yeah. So this is Bexar, Medina, Comal. As you go north, you get more chill, but here, Bexar, Wilson, 400 to 500 hours is typically what we get. And so this variety list that we're passing out here, it has the major varieties. Now, when you come here to Fannick's Nursery, they got jillions of varieties. Jillions of varieties. Yeah, that's not a word, I'm sorry. Let me have one, John, please.
Here you go.
So, anyway, we just have a few on the list. And we like to give you what we think are the very best, and then if you want to experiment with some of these others, that's okay too. So, apples. We'll just go down the list right quick here, and then we're going to take a walk and go out to the bed out here. But like apples, as a general rule of thumb, we don't recommend apples. You buy them at the grocery store, and you just move on. Apples are very susceptible to cotton root rot. And so a lot of times you plant them and they're going to die, and so that's a general rule of thumb. We don't recommend them. Now, if you want to plant them, these are the low chill varieties that will do fairly well. Anna and Dorset Gold are the typical two that we recommend. Those of you around Bernie, further north here, you could grow Molly's Delicious and Gala. Another one that we don't typically recommend are apricots. You know, apricots are in the stone fruit family. So apricots, peaches, plums, almonds are all in the same family, rose. And so we will prune what is called a fruit cocktail tree after a while here that has nectarine, peach, plum, and an apricot on it. So you can have all those on the same tree. I'm not a big fan of those particular trees. And I'll show you why when we go to prune this tree here directly. So anyway, that's something to keep in mind. But apricots, very inconsistent in Texas. Don't really know why. You plant a tree, 5 years it makes a crop, and another 5 years it may make another crop. So if you really love apricots, you can try, but typically we have not been very successful with those. Now blackberries, on the other hand, if you're just a novice and you're getting started, the best thing for you to do is plant a blackberry plant. It's very hard to mess up a blackberry plant.
I've done it.
So the major thing that the major thing that all fruit crops need is they need well-drained soil. So as long as soil drains well, you're not going to have a problem. Now, but the other thing that I forgot to tell y'all is all these crops need full sun. I mean, like right here, we're in amongst these trees, and it is sunny, but this is not full sun. And so when you plant fruit crops, they need to be in full sun. No shade, 8 to 10 hours of sun every day. So with blackberries, we've got a lot of good varieties. The best one on this list, in my opinion, is Kiowa. It's a thorny variety. It's a very vigorous plant, but the fruit are very large, very large. Now Natchez is a Texas superstar. Natchez is a thornless variety. There's only one problem with Natchez and that it makes too many blackberries. Then you say, well, how can that be a problem? Well, it overbears, it kills itself basically. So it makes a big crop, next year it doesn't come back and it slowly deteriorates. Now there's a new one they have right here. This is called, and it's not on our list yet, this is called Prime Arc Freedom. Prime Arc Freedom. Now this particular blackberry is an interesting plant. So blackberries fruit on the major canes, and we call those primicanes. So you plant a blackberry, it grows, and the shoots on it are called primicanes, and then next year those canes fruit, and they make blackberries. So blackberries are a biennial plant. You plant it, grow a top, fruits the next year, and then the top dies. This particular variety right here fruits on the primicanes in the fall. There's only one problem with that. It's hot in Texas in August and September, so they don't do very well in the fall. However, as a spring blackberry, Prime Arc Freedom looks really good, so we're excited about this particular variety. All right, grapes. You know, if you're growing grapes, basically you're growing them for either jam, jelly, juice, or maybe you want to make wine. And so if you want to make wine, the best variety on this list is Blanc de Bois, which is a white. Then you have Black Spanish and Champanelle, favorite, Lamento, however you want to say that. And basically those are all wine grapes. Like I said, I think, in my opinion, the best one on the list is probably Blanc de Bois if you're into the wine. If you're into the jelly, the others will do well. Big challenge we have with grapes here is the high pH soil. The leaves turn yellow. You have to have iron chelate to keep the leaves green, so that can be a challenge. There's one table grape on the list, that's Victoria Red. We really like that grape. It's a vigorous plant, makes a long cluster, about yay long, berries about this big. And so we're excited about that particular one. We have a new one that will be released this coming year. It's going to be called Southern Sensation Seedless. Southern Sensation Seedless. And y'all have heard me talk maybe in the past about Arkansas 1400. And so this will be a joint release with University of Arkansas, Texas A&M, and it should be available in the fall Southern Sensation seedless, and so we're excited about that. Jujubes, I'd put an X through jujubes. Unless you just love jujubes, I would not plant them. The big challenge you have with jujubes is they root sprout. They root sprout terribly. And I just, there's new varieties that are better. And so I planted them, and the sprouts were incredible, just incredible. And so they grow anywhere. So if you want to plant, like you said, you kill a blackberry, well, you can't kill a jujube. There ain't no way you can kill a jujube. So, I mean, that's one good thing about jujubes, but they just root sprout, and so in my opinion, that's a big challenge. If you're willing to accept that, then you're fine. Pears is the most overlooked fruit crop in Texas. We all ought to be growing more pears because pears do extremely well. The big challenge is you have to plant varieties that are adapted to our conditions. Now, if you go to the grocery store, what do they sell? Bartlett, Boss, Camas, DeHonjo, all those really high quality things, can't grow them here.
Kiefer.
They're gonna die. They're gonna die. A lot of nurseries sell them. Phoenix does not, and that's a good thing. The ones they have on this list right here, probably the two best are Orient and Kiefer. I mean, they're gonna grow. They will make pears. They make big pears. They have grit cells in them. That's a challenge. Some people call them cooking pears because you got to cook them to get them soft, so that can be a challenge. Another really good one on the list is Monterey. So there's a lot of good pear varieties. Big challenges. It takes them a while. We'll show you some pears out here. The spurs and things like that on there. Probably the most popular crop that people want to plant are peaches. Again, we have a lot of good varieties for the low chill area like we're in right here. So one of the best ones on this list is La Feliciana. Another one that I like really, really well is Tex Prince. Tex Prince has done really well in our area, as well as Tex King. So there's others on there as well. If you want one that just flowers and also makes a fruit, you can have Red Baron. Red Baron, when it blooms in the spring, it's just a spectacular show. Pecans, if you want to plant pecans, you need a lot of space, at least 50 feet from another tree, another house. The best variety that I like is Sioux as a yard tree. It's a gorgeous tree. Grows upright, has dark green leaves, small but very high quality pecan. Now, if you plant a pecan tree in the Bear, Wilson, and Comal County area, there's a jillion pecan trees around.
Yep.
And so you can plant one tree and it will get pollen. Now, if you live off in a pasture and you're 2 miles, 5 miles from another tree or whatever, then you got to plant 2 varieties. So you would have to plant something else with Sioux to pollinate it, and desirable would be a good choice. Persimmons grow extremely well. They don't have a lot of pest problems. We call them earth-kind fruit because you don't need to spray them any. The big challenge with persimmons is they freeze back when it gets really cold. A lot of good varieties on the list. Probably the most common one planted, you have your astringent ones and your non-astringent ones. Probably the most common astringent one planted is Eureka. And the most common non-astringent one is Fuyu. And so Fuyu, when it turns orange, you can consume it. Whereas the others, they have to go through a cold period or a ripening period before they develop full eating quality. Plums, there's a lot of good plums. Plums do extremely well. There's a native one called Mexican plum. It is, you see it on the list there, Mexican plum. And a lot of people use that as a rootstock. Grows well, makes a little tiny plum, which you could make jam or jelly from. Probably the best one on this list, if you were just going to plant one, would be Methley or Santa Rosa. And then last, we have strawberries. Strawberries have proven to do fairly well. The big key with strawberries is you need to plant them back in the fall. You plant them September, October, carry them through the winter, fruit them in the spring, and then you take them out. And so people that have done that have done extremely well with strawberries, and so that is something that you might consider planting as well. Another thing that we have up here are blueberry plants. Now, blueberry plants are not commonly grown in Texas because they have to have acid soil. But where we've been really successful with blueberry plants is growing them in containers. And so if you want to put a blueberry on your patio in a larger pot or container, they have done extremely well. We would encourage you to catch rainwater to water them. And remember, the media has to be acidic, has to be 4.5 to 5. 4.5 to 5. So,
What about the figs?
did we skip figs? Oh yeah, skip figs. So figs is another crop that's well adapted, does very well. Last year in February, y'all all remember the deep freeze that we had, and everybody thought all the figs would go to the ground, and surprisingly enough, a lot of them did not, and they came back with a crop. So you've got 3 excellent varieties on there. If I had to choose one, I would choose Alma. Alma has proven to be one of the very best ones. Celeste appears to be the more cold hardy one. And then of course you have Texas Everberry. Big challenge with figs is they're shallow rooted. You want to water them. They need mulch, 4 to 6 inches of mulch. Keep them very wet and they will be fine.